This is David with Elite Networks, and I'm going to show you how to configure the Wattbox WB-250-IPW-2. The default IP address for this device is it gets the IP address by DHCP. So mine was by that. I pulled that from my router, and then once you type it in, and you can go ahead and log in. The default login will be Wattbox, and the password will be Wattbox. When you do this, it's going to ask you to change the default credentials. So I'm just going to set it as admin and password for this example. It's going to mention it again. All right, once it's in, you might have to do this again. I had this happen to me. Okay, so what you're best off doing is going ahead and going into the device, clearing the address bar right here, back to default, and just go back and log in again. Once you're in, you'll be able to control the outlets. You can turn them on or off. When you do this, it will actually on the device make an audible click, like you can actually hear like a selector switch kind of clicking in and out, which is nice. So if you had someone in front of the unit, they could actually verify if they could hear it. If it's not like a hum or in a noisy environment, you can actually hear if the stuff is actually going off or on, which is nice. We can configure more things, like you can set the IP address, you can see the MAC, you can set it for DHCP, you can turn all the outlets off here, you can do individual outlets here. It also has wireless. When we hit this, we can enable. It'll start, you can do a scan, and you can scan your wireless, and then it'll work. Please note with this device, what it will do is if it detects an Ethernet cable connected to it, it will only work off the Ethernet cable. It only engages the wireless if the Ethernet cable is disconnected. Now the Ethernet probably can be connected, but if it senses any activities, or if it's like hooked to a switch and doesn't have an IP address, it's probably not going to work, just for your information. Now, the key features in this device come when you use OvRC. When we do this, we can add customers in. You can have customers manage the device for you, or well, you can manage the device for them, but you can have the customers interact with the device. So the big thing as a MSP is imagine giving your abilities to people that are really not tech savvy to go into a portal and maybe reset their modem or reset their router, all on site. Now, they can do this if they can get to the connection. OvRC was going to need an internet connection, but they do make a box that is offline that can be on the network that can control these boxes. You might want to look at putting one into place if there's a lot of connection issues and you're trying to use it for modem reboot. But there's also some really cool tools in this. You can go ahead and set your devices, if they don't phone home to like Google or Yahoo or Amazon, which is the default, if they don't check in every 5 minutes and see if those websites are all up, you can tell it auto reboot. Maybe this would be good for an environment where, you know, the modem is not too great. Maybe you have issues, you know, their service is kind of wonky, something like that. You know, maybe they're in a VoIP environment where they're having issues where their connection's not really that stable all the time, and, you know, they're getting a lot of drop calls, and you want to be able to, you know, maybe they're not hitting the server correctly, it's routing wrong, and you maybe want to reboot and get the modem cycled clearly to get it working again. That's where this ability comes in when you use the OvRC. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to hit add a customer. We'll just name this one customer, and you could just do, I'm just going to do test@test.com. You can add a location if you'd like, which I believe you're required to. So we're just going to say test. This is really cool. So let's say you know they have an ISP. It auto-fills the ISP. So in my area, we have Frontier Communications. That's really cool. We could auto add that. Maybe you have Bright House. You know, oh, Bright House is not there. Let's see, Spectrum. Spectrum's in there, but it auto fills the ISP, which is nice. You can also auto add the location. It'll add that. So the customer saved. So now we can see if the device is up. That right now we do not have any devices added. So what we got to do is add a device. It supports Wattbox, Atkins, Luma, controls, a lot of different things. So what we're going to do is you have to add in the MAC address. And here's the beauty. It auto puts the call-ins for you. Don't even have to do that, which is nice. Now on this one, their example shows the number. I have a Wattbox 250 here. It's not just a number. On mine, my serial number, my service tag has an ST in the front. Make sure you add that, or you might go a little nuts, because what I've noticed is when you add it in, and then you go to add a letter in the front, it won't take the second character until you hit the end and then go back here. Let me kind of show you an example. Let's say we didn't add that. I was having a glitch on the website where if I put it, you see how it just kicked all the way to the front? And then if you would have hit a T, you would have went to the T on the end. So you need to make sure you click back and then do it if you accidentally don't put the letters in the front. You ask you to name the device. Say that. You can put some device notes. What I would recommend is, like, if you're resetting your ISP modems, anything of that type, maybe put the name, what device is on what outlet, maybe what's the account information, if you had to call up or something like that. If you want to have ISP info or something like that, you can add that in. Or serial numbers of devices, something like that. If you're not using this for that, maybe you want to know what devices, let's say it gets hit by lightning or something like that. You would really want to know these things. So we're in the box. Go here. We can see the outlets. I could reset the outlets here. I can see the ping outs we have for pings. We can configure outlet options. This is how you can name the outlets. Like maybe you have a server hooked to this one. Maybe you have a modem hooked to this one. And we could say power delay. So this is really handy. So let's say you had a modem and a router here. Maybe you want to reboot the modem first. Make it wait 30 seconds, and after 30 seconds, bring up the router. You can do that. You can tell it to bring up stuff in a certain time order, which is great. We can also enable auto reboot, and then it will use the host settings. Now, the host settings are defaulted to use Google, Yahoo, and Amazon. What it'll do is it'll check for the connection. Well, using this, it'll test and it'll tell you how many milliseconds it's gotten. I'm just going to go ahead and cancel. You can also set the outlet reboot options, never reboot, all kinds of stuff. Reboot at a selected timeouts, certain things like that. Let's say you wanted to have it reboot every day. Maybe the customer has some kind of problem and they have to reboot a device every day. You could say reboot every day. You could set the timeout intervals here. How many attempts it will attempt to reboot. Like, let's say you had a modem, may have lost connection. You want to just see if a modem, a little reboot would fix it. But after 5 times, stop rebooting. Maybe there's a problem at the ISP level. You could say maybe reboot every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, which is really great. Time settings, it's automatically going to pull the time zone usually for your location. It has all kinds of stuff. We could schedule reboots. We could see activities, like whatever was done. We could see the notes on this. There's also more enhancements if you have such as an ups. You can say, hey, let me know if the device goes in, on battery. Let me know if surge got tripped. Let me know if all kinds of things. The beauty of this unit, which also I like, it actually has a fuse in it. So let's say you get a lightning strike. The unit is not hosed. It might just blow a fuse, which is great. Versus most of this equipment that you're getting into managed devices, managed powering off and on, they're not going to have fuses. So if you get a direct lightning hit, I hope you have insurance, or you're going to claim your $300 or $400 power management tool under your insurance. Versus replacing a little $2 fuse. It's a beautiful thing. This tool also keeps everything up to date. You can go way more in depth with this. You can, see everything that's going on in your customers. You could also give the customer access to this. We could go ahead and see every device in inventory. It takes a little bit to log into inventory, but once you get it inventoried and you get the customer all set up, you could set the customer in here and go into the app and set client settings. Check this out, guys. Go ahead and add a command. Let's say we want to say reboot modem. We know it's that test location. We say the device, reset an outlet, modem. Okay. Now, now the customer can go ahead and once we click this, if you had it all set up, let's say you're working with a non-techie person, hey, reboot this, reboot that, reboot whatever. They just click the button, it reboots. They don't have to worry about it, oh, am I rebooting the right thing? Was it outlet 1? Is it outlet 2? You just did the work for them. This makes it really easy for you to troubleshoot with people over the phone. So in my clientele, I deal with a lot of medical offices. They're not so tech savvy. You might have 4 or 5 things in the rack. This device is only a 2 outlet one, but they do make multiple outlet ones. But maybe you want to just say, hey, they don't know what's what. I had a client that didn't know what was what and just started unplugging things, and they started taking down their network because they couldn't figure out what outlet was going what in a little small 12U rack. Or an 8U rack. You're gonna it gets really tight in there. If there's a lot of things in there and they just start unplugging stuff, that could be bad news. And then stuff doesn't get plugged in correctly. Maybe it gets disconnected from the ups versus not ups. This will tell you all that. And this is great. You can also have it report user activity so you know what the user did. So if they went, oh, I rebooted it. Well, we can look. You always get those calls. Hey, you tell them, hey, did you reboot it? And they go, no. Or yeah. And they lie to you. You know that. You can see what's going on at least. We can see what user logged into it. Another great thing is this app supports two-factor. That's really big. I would not use any cloud services that do not support two-factor. I really like this. You can see content filtering. They do make other devices. They do make their own wireless. I'm not too sure about their wireless or their network devices. They are a mostly power and AV company. I would probably trust them more for power AV than anything else. But this is the device I got sent. This device, just so you're aware, was sent to me for free. I just had to pay shipping. I am a certified reseller for them, so I can resell their devices. That's why they went ahead and sent me it, because I was like, well, before I would like to sell your product, I'd like to test it, and they sent me this. So far, the monitoring tools for this are buther smooth. Working with some home AV equipment and stuff like that I've messed with, it is not as smooth as this, not as secure. And it just makes me very much impressed with the device. So this is a review of the Snap AV Wattbox 250, WB250, sorry, WB250-IPW-2. It's a really nice device. If you were looking at getting a device for maybe as an MSP and using this tool to reboot your devices or work on anything remotely right now with what we have going on in the world, such as COVID, this is a nice tool to have. Really super simple to set up. Once it's set up, it is lightning fast. You could see in under 5 minutes I had it set up and working. No special software really besides hooking it up to the cloud. It does have a thick client if you want to install it on the PC. I haven't used that yet. This is just me going through it. But in under 5 minutes I had the whole thing set up. Once you set up your account in here, which maybe takes you maybe 2-3 minutes if you're quick on the keyboard, if not maybe 5 or 10, you could have this whole thing set up in under 20 minutes, and you could be pushing these devices out and to your clients and be able to remotely reboot their equipment, remotely monitor their equipment, know if there's a power outage, know what's going on with your environment. The key thing as an MSP is we want to know what's going on. I heavily use Unify and UMS to know what's going on with my customers. I actually sometimes message my customer going, hey, your internet went out, and they're like, what? They didn't even realize their internet was out. I already was on top of it and letting them know. This would let them know, hey, obviously a power outage is going to be a little bit more noticeable than, hey, the internet just went out for 5 or 10 minutes. But this will let you know what's going on with their environment. Maybe they're running on batteries. I had a whole office that we have ups everywhere. They only knew that they were running on batteries because of the beeps. If they had certain ups that didn't beep, they would have never known they were on battery because every one of their equipment is on battery. This would also let us know what devices are online in a case of an upset. Like what we had a power outage at a medical facility for 2 or 3 hours. A power pole got hit outside the facility and took them out with the hospital. The hospital was on generator; they were not. But we were able, if I had this and I did not have this, one of the reasons why I looked at this product was if something were to happen and like that in that situation, we know what's up, how much runtime we have on each device, what devices are talking, what's up, what's going on. The only insight I had is to remote in and hopefully the batteries were working. And some stuff was bigger stuff. Some ups are bigger and up for the servers and such. Their routing and switching equipment was low power, so it lasted a little bit longer. But once certain stuff started to go down in certain orders that we didn't know. After you're running on battery for about an hour, stuff's going to start becoming questionable. And then it came into this customer is very unfamiliar with how they had to power cycle certain stuff a certain way. And what happens, how do we bring their stuff up properly? Like, how do we go ahead and bring up, like, you need to bring up the modem this way, or make sure the modem's up, then bring up the router, and then we have to make sure the server comes up. And once the server comes up, we need to make sure also is their storage system up. So we need to know all these different things, and we need to make sure what order they're booted in. If they need to be properly booted, this device will do this for you. It's a great product, and I think it's something you're going to want to look into. Thank you.